I'm gonna talk about my teaching method. I don't know if it's something official. I don't have any name for it. Let's be very honest, it's been improvised. So the idea is to create a connection with the student, like almost like a relationship about some friendship with some trust, acting like the good cop. And then at some point, if the student gets too comfortable, even despite getting all the good grades for participation and everything, I show it like this student kind of betrayed my trust in him or her. That's why the student needs to keep working as he or she got my trust in that process. That's how I operate. I think I can do nice games sometimes for them to laugh. For the teenagers, I tell them silly stories, funny stories. I show them I am human myself.
I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared.
Like them. I like video games. I'm a young guy, to be honest.
What?
I'm not gonna lie about it, that I like watching silly videos on YouTube, or not really TikTok, but whatever on YouTube, yes. So I understand this random browsing of social media and everything, but there's a timing for it. You don't need to do it right now. You don't need to do it in the class. Like, don't lose your consciousness. I don't know which word to use. Don't lose yourself because of infinite browsing, because the browsing by definition is infinite. It cannot be done with that browsing. That's the concept of this browsing. That's why it's not good if you browse all the time mindlessly and not even knowing why you're browsing. You want to disconnect your brain a bit, do it. So you want to do it all the time, you're gonna miss life. The real life is here, like, in the real life, the real world. It's not like on the screen. Now, okay, you're watching me on the screen. You're gonna turn off that screen at some point and go back to your real life, wherever you are. That's the idea. So I'm trying to make it clear for the kids and the teenagers. Ironically, with the kids, better. Why? Because they just don't have a smartphone. Not yet, maybe some of them. But no, the primary schools, they don't have any. But the teenagers, they get into it, and a lot, intensely. And I'm very happy I'm from that generation that went from real life socializing into the social media era. I'm right in the between. So I enjoyed both. But at least I could have lived my life when all of that was not available. So you don't need to be dependent on your screen all the time. And I'm aware of it, thanks God. I don't want to lose that awareness. But the ones who grow up with this non-stop all the time not sounding like a conservative, but they may miss a lot of good things from normal life, from about their focus, their attention, and so on, just because they are too entertained in some way, entertained and distracted. So I play this game with some focus, and I ask for their trust. But then I know when to relax too. Otherwise, it's really, I cannot be the tough teacher acting military, because they would study out of fear, and I want them to study out of love, yet having a minimum of fear when it comes to the grades in the end, but telling them million of times that they should not do it all for the grades. They should do it for themselves, because they're enjoying the process, because they're learning something new. And the ideal is that they come back home with the parents and they tell the parents randomly, oh, here's something I learned in that class, history class, French class, science class, whatever. I learned this. I think it's funny. I think it's cool. I learned that. If you repeat what you learned at school once in the house to then play your video games or whatever, that's really good. So that's where I am now. I show them how imperfect I am. That's important. That's the idea. Like, I'm a human like them. Of course, I cannot tell them all of my secrets. Definitely not. Not. They don't have to know anything.
I know your secret, your dirty little secret.
But they can know a few things, about the teacher and everything. And then if they feel like, sometimes they tell me their own stories out of this trust that they will not dare to tell some very strict teacher, always about to ground them. I also never raised the voice on them. Only one, she was acting like sleeping. I told her 1 warning, 2 warnings, gave her another warning, and I just shouted her name. After this, she told me, but we love you, you know. And I'm like, if you love me, don't do this. And she made one of the best progress ever. And I'm like, wow, she's almost one of my favorite students, ironically, even if I know she cannot stop talking to her friend, some others in the classroom. She doesn't behave that well. Yet, once she has to focus and to study the right things, I don't know why she does it well. And she does it, like, really, but she does it even well. So I'm like, wow. Okay, so and why some quiet ones who seem okay don't follow anything and they pretend to understand. So yeah, appearances can be misleading. At some point, I don't want to teach about French language only. I would like to teach about the French culture in English, because many French are bad in English, and I want to be that bridge in the English-speaking world to bring from the French culture to share it on the international scale, and exchange myself with other cultures to bring back into the French culture, the French world, the francophonic world, the world where they only speak French, and unfortunately, some of them, not all, of course not, think it's enough by itself. I'm like, no, it's not enough. Of course, you need to speak English. Come on, please. It's so obvious. I don't even need to explain what that. So here it is. But this idea to be a bridge can be very interesting. It would be pity to keep our ways of thinking just because of a language issue, you know, and history as well. And I'm not gonna focus only about French history. But I'm having a map project. I'm gonna combine with my experience in the school and as a tutor as well, private tutor, to do what I call comparative history. Comparative history when it comes to know, for example, what happens not in Cuba, but in France or in Kazakhstan or in Korea, Japan, in India, because he thought he went to India, in 1492 when Christopher Columbus discovered America. Oh, we always know, all of us, we know what happens in America, in at least Central America, in Cuba exactly, when Christopher Columbus discovered the American continent. But we don't know what happens in Africa, in Mali, or like in France, or like in Russia, in the Mongol Empire, the Golden Horde around Kazakhstan, in China or in India, because he thought he went to India actually, on that same year. So my idea is to make comparative history at some point, and making it super interesting to learn the history of a country, but to see the whole board, the full spectrum, the whole thing, the full picture. Super, it's gonna be a nice project. It's gonna be a very long-term project, and I don't know how to bring it up in a very human way without having always this teaching tone. You know, I'm gonna take off the tie, by the way, because I wanna be a learner as much as a teacher. I'm here to learn. It's like, who knows except the AI? Who knows all the comparative history year by year, century by century? Nobody. So I'm gonna learn and then teach. And if other people teach, I'm gonna learn. It's gonna be a very dynamic process with many people teaching me, as much as I would try my best to teach many people. But first, to know the right things. So let's see how this project will go. It's gonna be coded very soon, but let's see. I hope so. Finger crossed. The timeline will be appearing under the world map, so we will have a nice view of the whole thing. Let's see. Let's hope. Okay. Cheers. Now it's time to chill.